sections.
Page 87 you actually don't need, so we can recycle that. So if you want to just...
Got it.
87. Page 87, just handout.
It wasn't.
If you want, yeah. It should say writing goals at the top. We don't need it, so we just put it in the stash.
It doesn't have to be negative.
There are actual recycling boxes around the office.
Tiny plate is forget the
Okay, we're about 5 minutes behind schedule, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Is there anybody who can't find the handouts for this session? Okay, so we're going to spend the next 2 hours talking about the improvement plan process at the Institute. I'm actually really excited to deliver this session. I know some of you may be thinking, oh, I'm excited to deliver the improvement plan session. But, I mean, to me, the way I look at the improvement plan is this idea that, like, at the Institute, we have one main goal, and that's student achievement. And we take that very, very seriously. We believe that both the actions that we take on a daily basis, as well as the outcomes of those actions, are important to us reaching that goal. And when people are not doing that, especially the people who are most directly linked to our students, which are our core members, that we take exceptional effort to make sure that they have every opportunity to make those outcomes happen for our students. And so when I think about the improvement plan process, I think about the core members that I had as a school director that struggled to turn their lesson plans in on time, that struggled to get to CS sessions on time, and who missed valuable information because they weren't getting the support that they needed to be successful at the Institute. And I will be the first to admit that I actually did not put any core members on improvement plans, and I most definitely should have. And looking back on it now, I think the detriment that I may have caused to students both during the summer and throughout the fall by not doing that is a hefty weight for me to bear. So I think as leaders at the Institute, we should actually embrace the improvement plan as this mechanism for making sure that we are providing the most quality teachers for our students, both this summer in Chicago and throughout their next 2 years. So with that said, the objectives of this session are, first, for you to begin to, and I want to focus on that piece right there, begin to internalize the purpose of the improvement plan, the vision that we have for the improvement plan this summer, and the process by which we are going to implement the improvement plan. Again, I repeat, begin to internalize, because this is not going to be a one-stop shop for everything you need to know about the improvement plan. The second objective is for you today to actually grapple with some scenarios and some activities around the improvement plan. So actually looking at how do I actually write goals, or actually how do I decide when an improvement plan is necessary? How do I actually write goals or evaluate goals for an improvement plan? And then how do I manage my staff in this process? Again, the very beginnings of this. And then lastly, and I think very, very importantly, we're going to proactively share with you the challenges that we faced in implementing the improvement plan, some of the solutions that we've come up with, and honestly talk about some of the things we actually don't know how to fix just yet and that we're still working on, but we want you to keep an eye out for. So I have a clicker going somewhere. Yep. Thank you. The objectives. Okay. And then the agenda. All right. Sorry, I have to set my timer because I will go over. All right, so the overall purpose of the improvement plan. Just like any other employer, we have expectations of our staff members that we hold them to, not just to hold people to expectations, but because we have very clear outcomes that we need to meet. And in this case, I shouldn't say the employers that we're most worried about, but the employers that have the most direct effect on our outcomes are our core members. So we have to invest as much energy as we possibly can in making sure that our core members are successful as a means to achieving our ultimate aim of student achievement. So the overall, so that's kind of why we have the improvement plan. Then we talk about like some of the purposes of the plan. So the first one is a standard method for collecting information about core members. Just like we just talked about with our staff members, we have to know where our core members are really strong and where they're struggling in order to make sure that we know how to support them. So the improvement plan, the entire process, not even just the plan itself, but the entire process, helps to make sure that we are collecting that information so that we can hold ourselves accountable to the most important people, which are our students. The next piece is that we have this way of sharing information with the region. So after our core members leave us, our regional teams have the very tough responsibility of supporting core members through achievement for 2 years. And they need to have reliable information about how our core members performed at Institute with their students so that they know how to support them in the regions. The next is this idea in the spirit of partnership. And you may be thinking, improvement plan, partnership, those don't seem to really go together for me. But I think it's when we actually root the improvement plan in what it's for, which is so that they can improve, so that our students can improve, it actually does kind of message a sense of partnership. Like, I am only investing time in you because I know that you are capable of doing this, and that your capabilities will lead to our students learning more, and that's what's really important about all of this. And then the last is that in the rare event, and this is a rare event, this is not something that happens widely, in the rare event that we have to dismiss a core member, or that a core member does not improve, we actually have evidence to show that we did everything we could to ensure that this core member could be successful, and ultimately that they weren't able to be successful, and so we do have grounds to let them go. So I'm actually going to stop these first few slides after every slide just to make sure that people kind of have taken this information in, and then see if there are any questions about the purpose of the plan itself.
Do core members ever get let go purely for ineffectiveness at Institute?
I'm going to get to that in a second, so if you'll just hold that question, we'll talk about that in a second. Any questions about just what's up here so far? So then the overall vision that we have for the plan this year in 2009, and this actually comes from some of the challenges that we faced in the past, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the session. But the overall vision that we have is first that the improvement plan is implemented fairly and consistently. And that means not only across your school or across a CMA group, but it means across your school. It means across the entire Chicago Institute, and then across all institutes, including Phoenix and Atlanta and Houston, and New York and LA and Philly, right? So that includes making sure that it's implemented fairly across all institutes, in addition to being implemented fairly across gender, race, ethnicity, and all of those factors. So we just want to make sure that it's fairly implemented. The next is staff feeling empowered to make decisions about the improvement plan process. And so really ensuring that people feel comfortable with why we have it, how we use it, and then also kind of that they have the kind of logic to make decisions about the improvement plan moving forward. The last, that it's implemented in a way that continues to build our sense of partnership, and we talked about that a little bit already. And then that it minimizes our legal risk. Anytime that we dismiss someone from an organization or a corporation, we have to kind of provide evidence for why we're doing that, and so this helps us provide that evidence and minimize